Doc is back. Welcome to Medically Speaking with Dr. Winston Alexis, hosted by Tyrone Robertson. Join Doc and his guests as they discuss healthcare and the Caribbean community every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on caribcast.tv, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and most other popular podcast platforms.
I didn't grow up here, but Broward County has become home to me. This is where I settled. I raised my family here and started my practice here. For over 20 years, I've represented my neighbors, people who needed help in a stressful time. If you find yourself in need of an attorney, reach out to someone you can trust, someone with a proven track record.
When a car accident or personal injury sets you back, call Scott McCullough.
954-989-3435.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of Medically Speaking with Dr. Winston Alexis. I'm your host, Tyrone Robertson, and our topic this week is men's health. However, our format is going to be a little different. Doc had recently been invited by the men's ministry at the Gateway Church to have a discussion with the group about men's health. And we thought that this might have been of some interest to our gentlemen listeners. Doc had some discussions about several issues related to men's health. And let's get right to it.
They say you should start evaluated age 50. That is if there is no family history. If there's family history like me, like all my sons, at 40 years old, they started getting evaluated. If you have a family member, you need to start at 40. And by the way, prostate cancer is extremely common in Black people. It's one of our genetics that we have to deal with. That's why we need to talk about this. All my sons, I made sure every one of them, I have two boys, both of them started at age 40. Okay. And they go every couple of years. Okay? So one, regular screening is done at 50. If you have a family history, you need to start at 40. All right? You had a question?
Yes, a question here. What's the best way to, as you put it, evaluate, which is not as intrusive as some of the other ways? And I guess that is some of the things that we Black men don't like, where the intrusiveness of,
Again, you see how I tried to categorize it. Now, if I was 40 years, I might go the other path. You understand? I preserve my sexuality. You understand? Because that was more important to me than other complication that it has. That's the point my brother took. Of course, my brother did just the opposite to me. His wife 10 years younger than him. So that is an important part of his life. You understand? He has a wife 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, so the question basically is, how do we, when we go to the doctor and they're going to test for prostate cancer,
right?
They basically insert the...
No, I ain't reached that part yet, Okay. I don't understand what you're asking. Yeah. Let me finish management for 1 minute, and then I go into screening, okay?
Okay, cool.
So the first part of screening, what you're talking about is the second part. The first part is risk factors. And your risk are you're Black, right? So you have a higher incidence. And the older you get, the more you're at risk. Other than that, if you have a family member with it, you're more at risk. So if you're Black and you have a family member who died of it, like my father, me and my brother need to start at age 40. So that's the first thing I want everybody to understand. If no family member, 50 is fine. If you have a family member with it, even if it's 10 generations back, you start getting it at 40. All right, let's talk a little bit about the part I know you guys are anxious for me to get to, which is how are you evaluated? All right? Everybody hearing me because I ain't seeing nobody anymore.
Yes, we're hearing you.
All right, good. So this is it. There are two parts to the screening. All right? One part is to actually measure, evaluate the size and the consistency of the prostate gland. All right, let me tell you what happens. The prostate gland look exactly like a large walnut. Everybody know how a walnut look like? That's your prostate. That is it's no bigger than that. And it sits right between the bladder and your rectum. There's a space there. Your bladder on top, your rectum below. It sits right in between that.
Okay.
And the tube that carries the urine through your penis and carry your sperms through the penis travel through that prostate gland. So not only is it between the rectum and the bladder, but your urethra, which is the tube that carries urine from your bladder to the outside, passes through it. All right? So doing a rectal exam, you can feel the entire prostate gland. And that's the easiest way to examine it.
That's
it's not as easy as me. Right. Me examining a woman is very easy. Everything, the vagina is there, and everything I need, I could access through the vagina. Men don't have that. So they have to find another way to examine this. So if you go into the rectum on the upper part, and this wrong walnut is there, and they feel to make sure it's smooth and wrong, like a little rubber ball, no bumps. Now, in my case, all right, before that, let me get to the second part. The other thing is a blood test that they do that's called a PSA. PSA is made by the prostate gland, that substance. And we know the levels it's supposed to be made at. By checking it and making sure it's not rising, we have an indirect evidence that there's a good chance that there is no prostate cancer. Here is the kicker. It's not 100%. Right? And here the kicker. The exam through your rectum is not 100% either. Wow. But when you put together, 98%. One by itself, not as good as both. Okay. Let me give you an example. My PSA never was abnormal. What was abnormal when he put his hand up my bottom and he felt this walnut, it had a bump on it on the back portion, a little growth. Mm-hmm. And he told me, Winston, I think I feel something, and especially with my good friend, and especially with your father history, I think we need to take a look at this. I was sure it was nothing. Oh yeah? When he biopsied it, come back early prostate cancer. And by the way, I had an earlier lesion than my brother. My brother had a more advanced. That's why, you could remove the whole tumor with surgery in me. But when it starts to spread, surgery alone can't do it because you can't get to everything. Radiation now spray the whole area to kill the cells, but it also damages some of your bowel. It may. Okay. Right? The reason I'm having erectile dysfunction is when they remove the gland, part of the nerve that supply the penis is in that tissue. It's very small and you can't see properly. All right? Okay. So I know the part all you don't want to hear. I have bad news for you. You have to have the rectal exam. I'm hearing silence. I'm hearing silence.
Yeah, I don't like the intrusive part of it either.
Yeah, by the way, my youngest son wanted to kill me because I tell him he can't do the blood alone. I had to hold his hand and carry him into the urologist, and he's 50 years old. All right, I know you guys don't want to hear, but hear me. I give you and God is my witness, that I tell you is true. My PSA has never been high. It would have gotten high eventually as the thing get worse. Right. Right? So everybody with moderately advanced cancer at the prostate will have an elevated PSA. But in some of the early cases, it may be normal for a while.
I do have a question, doctor.
Yeah, man.
you talk about doing the PSA through the blood naturally, but some doctors don't want to do the rectum. Should you then go to another doctor who?
How you know so good? Find another doctor.
Okay.
Either that or usually it's your primary care. If he doesn't want to do it, get an appointment to a urologist. He will always do it.
Okay.
Right? You don't have to make no comment. Say, okay, you don't want to do it, sir. Why? And honestly, some of the primary cares not experienced enough as the urologist. So they don't feel confident doing it and telling you, look, it's negative when they're not sure. So what they say is go ahead and do the PSA, but I'm guarantee you, if you tell them, listen, I want it to be examined, can you send me to a urologist? They will.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, the way I look at it, I make my mind up. I hate it when I'm going there, and it's my good friend doing it. Good friend from Jamaica, my urologist, Paul Cam. And I go there, I say, Paul, again, one more time, you sure we can't do it every 2 years? He said, Winston, look, just get up on the table, take your wife, and maybe and stop asking me foolishness. But that question is well taken. A lot of primary cares don't do it. It's not because they don't think it should, they don't feel confident doing it and say negative prostate exam. So do the right thing. Say, okay, if you really want to have it done, I'll send you to a urologist. So the point is, it's up to you all to ask for it. Look what I'm saying, guys. All of you trying to hide from it, but I'm telling you, you need to go and demand it. Okay. If you're over 50 years old.
So, doctor, in this day when we have so many ways and means of looking deeply into the body, is there any electronic, digital, or any other tests that can be done to determine the stage of the cancer?
Yes, ultrasound and MRI, but those are not screening. They use that after you are positive, then they use those things. For instance, he did an ultrasound just before he biopsied me to see which area he should biopsy. But ultrasound is not a part of the screening. Unfortunately, it's digital exam. By the way, guys, don't think it's you alone. Every woman, almost every woman who's been coming to me for years, said, Doc, you all can design something else other than this cold silver thing you used. I tell them, no, it's amazing. We're using those same things for 100 years, and they haven't come up with anything better. But pretty soon, good question. I think, you want to hear some? I think part of the problem is, I think MRI can do it, but it's too expensive. To pay $3,000, $2,000 for a screening test, where everybody do it now, it's too costly. On the other hand, a digital exam and a little biopsy costs you a couple of $100. So it's because it's not cost effective, they're not using it. Okay. And I think eventually maybe they will come up with smaller machines. But for now, we have to go through that nonsense. Okay. Right? But I'm living proof that prostate cancer don't have to kill you. You can get it, but it shouldn't kill you. And the only way you could do that, early diagnosis. If you wait like my dad, when it was all in his rectum, it was all in his bones, all you do is pray for a person like that. You're not going to cure that. And by the way, prostate cancer is about 99.9% curative if you catch it early. Okay. Right? And prostate, people not supposed to die from prostate cancer. It's a slow-growing tumor, and it's pretty easy to diagnose. Uncomfortable for us. But once a year, Jesus. What I do, all you forgive me here, I do it and I go straight and get a martini somewhere down the road. I don't work the day I go for my prostate things. I think the afternoon, I go get it, I go have a drink. Once a year, I make up my mind. I'm doing that. And I know it's tough, guys. I really know. I'm not making you feel it's easy. I have always hated it. But the important thing is I did it.
Okay.
And it's not supposed to take my people's life. If you do that, you will not die of prostate cancer, I guarantee you.
UroSurge Associates is a full-service urology practice in Plantation, Florida, with 3 board-certified urologists offering expert care in most disciplines of general urology. At the helm is Dr. Paul Kahn, who is board-certified in urology, a fellow of the American College of Surgeons, and an expert in robotic surgery. As a proud Jamaican American, Dr. Kahn attended medical school at the University of the West Indies and completed his residency at the University of Miami-Jackson Memorial. Since 1983, Dr. Kahn with his dedicated team have been committed to providing the best possible care to patients. Call 954-474-2929 to schedule your appointment today. That's 954-474-2929.
All right? So guys, line up. If you want a good urologist, he's a Jamaican. Hard to tell he's a Jamaican, you know. Lily white with blue eye. But when he talk, oh my Jesus, you know he from somewhere in the streets of Kingston. Pure.
Okay.
Pure. What? His name is Paul Kahn. Paul? Yeah, he went to UWI first, and then he came to University of Miami and specialized. Real good young man. Paul Kahn, K-A-H-N.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. So I only have a couple more things to take beef with you guys. High blood pressure. Yeah. Again, if you're black, you get a double dose. And do not feel we are being punished. We are lucky. The diseases we get can be managed. The other folks get some diseases that there are no treatment for. Cystic fibrosis and, black people always say, no, yeah, but we can live with what we have. We can manage with what we have. We could literally maybe sometime prevent ourselves from dying. The disease the other folks get, many times they are fatal. Can't do nothing for it. So patients are, doc, it look like black people get more of everything, more high blood pressure, more diabetes, more prostate. That's the ones we know about, but there are a ton of them. Lymphoma and some funny little disease that I even have to look it up when I see the name. They're not common to us, but they are common to other people. So high blood pressure is our burden. All right? High blood pressure doesn't have anything to do with how you are living your life. High blood pressure is 100% genetic. All right? Again, you look back in your family, if you have 1 or 2 people in 1 or 2 generations, you are at risk. Now, what you can control is how severe it is. You can't control getting it, but you can control how severe it becomes. Mm-hmm. And you can control it so it doesn't eventually either take your life or you end up with some disability from the complications of the blood pressure. Blood pressure, don't kill you. It's the organs that affect that fail and kill you. It can damage your heart. It can damage your kidney. It can damage your liver. And what you die from is the kidney disease or the liver disease or the heart disease, not the pressure itself. Mm-hmm. So the pressure over a long period of time slowly destroy these organs I just named. A lot more, but those are the most important ones because you can't live without a liver. You can't live without it. Well, you could get transplant these days, but we're talking about naturally. Yeah. All right? So stop worrying about how come you have it.
Doc, so you had mentioned before, you had started off with stress and let's segue now into high blood pressure. Is it that if we reduce our stress, it would also help in reducing the likelihood of having high blood pressure?
No, of reducing the chances that it becomes bad. Can't stop you. Cannot stop you. That's in your gene, just like you black and I black. That's in your gene. There's a damn thing you could do about that. Michael Jackson tried, but he didn't succeed.
Well, I said that
black? Okay. Yeah. So you can't prevent it, but you could manage it.
Yeah, because what had happened
stress
is that
makes it worse.
Yeah, I have. Well, when I was by my house in Jamaica, the lawyer stressed me out, and then I ended up with high blood pressure.
Yeah.
But from the year has started, I have decided, I'm not going to make anything stress me out. So I'm try to be as calm as possible. Right. And I mean, I've been looking at my pressure like every other day, and it's within the 120, 125 over 80, 85.
All right.
So
yeah, you just hit a nice subject. The pressure is not the same figure of normal for everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Young people have it lower, middle-aged people have it at 1, and older people it go up a little bit. So you have to find out what your normal range is. Like for a man my age to have a blood pressure of 110 over 60, that means I'm almost dead. If you're 80 years old and that's still your pressure, something wrong. On the other hand, I could have a pressure of 130 over 84, which is not too bad for me.
Yeah.
But a 20-year-old guy with 130 over 84, that is not good at all. So it moves with your age. That's why you can manage. You can evaluate it yourself. All right? It's good to do it, but you shouldn't use that to decide what you should do and what you shouldn't do about high blood pressure. Everybody with high blood pressure need to do this. For 1 week before you go to see your doctor, you get up in the morning. Do not do the pressure in the evening because pressure varies depending on the type of day. It tends to go up naturally in the evening. So it may not be a true reading because, as you said, stress will make it go up. But when you wake up in the morning, you sit down for 15 minutes, that's a resting blood pressure. And then you need to do it 2 times in a row, one after the other. Write it down on a piece of paper, put the date and the time. Do it for 5 days and then take it into your primary care. And he will know how to titrate it and evaluate it and decide whether you need management or not. Don't try to do it on your own. Take it and say, oh, my pressure is high. I need to take more tablet or it's low. I don't need to take my medicine. You did not go to anybody medical school. I know I sound a little tough to you guys all day, but I got to get rough with my people. Even me who go have trouble deciding what to do about blood pressure. So you let the expert do it. But you should monitor it. Don't get me wrong, but keep it. And if you think it ain't going right, say, okay, let me either call my doctor and tell him what happened here, or let me go in and see him with these figures. Don't adjust your medicine by what you have found. So it's good to take it. I wish everybody with high blood pressure would do that. You have to do it all the time. By the way, other than the time you go into the doctor, if you're going to take your blood pressure, take it twice, one after the other in the morning. And get one of the machines that calculate it for you. When you do 2, it tells you what the average is. And that is truly what your blood pressure might be. Taking it in the middle of the day or after somebody get you vexed. Like when Mr. Alexis annoy me, you can't take my blood pressure. So the only time I could take it when she about him is as soon as I get home. After we say good morning, I'm going to start already. I'm on the wrong side of the bathroom. I'm making too much noise with all kind of thing. All right, but you get the point.
Yes, you got it.
All right, now let me talk about management. You do part of my management list already. Number 1, reduce stress. Because stress alters, maybe the blood pressure and heart rate probably responds most to stress than any other system in your body. Right? So even though your liver and your kidney and them thing might be suffering from the stress, the pressure, the cardiovascular system, heart and blood vessels respond and varies more than any other organ system with stress. So stress is extremely important. Stress management in cardiovascular disease. Good point. Right? But there are other things. What you think is second? Reducing stress is one. Let me guess. I'm sure you guys know, boy. You don't do it.
Salt.
Decrease your sodium intake. Let me tell you why. Not all people with high blood pressure, all high blood pressure is not the same. White people's high blood pressure is different from ours. Did you know that?
No.
All right. Black people, high blood pressure tend to be associated with their kidneys and salt metabolism. The type that white folks get, salt don't have much to do with it.
Oh.
It's a different mechanism by which it makes the pressure high. So the salt sparing, the ones where you want to reduce your salt, is the type that black people get. So we should be eating less salt. All right? But you might have a white friend who says, nah, I eat, and that's good for him, not you. All right? And do not think high blood pressure is the same disease over all races and culture. No. Ours is related to the kidney. That's why almost always they put you on diuretics and things to affect your kidney. All right? All right, we down to now. Stress, salt, what else?
Diabetes.
Yeah. And many of us believe diabetes and high blood pressure is the same group of genes that's responsible for both. So many times you find one with one, either have the other one, we eventually develop. So everything that I'm saying for high blood pressure now, right, as far as lifestyle changes, like reducing stress, is true for diabetes and is true for high blood pressure. So don't derail me here. All you have to answer these questions. Stress, salt, what next? I know not all you want to hear it. I'll give you a quiz here. Stand up, let me see the size of your belly. You know where I'm going with this? You know where I'm going with this? Exercise. Right? Exercise. My own up to you. So it's just you can see it. I have a little pot belly here too. Exercise. And no fancy thing. Half of cardiovascular, or they like to call it aerobic exercise. Not weights. Aerobic. Walking, running, right? Gymnastics, those kind of things. That's all. 30 minutes, 5 days a week. And you don't have to run, even walk as fast as you can. As long as you're breaking into a sweat, you're walking fast enough. If you're not sweating, you're not walking fast enough. And you need, well, let's say 3 to 5 days, by rather 5. Right?
Okay.
So all of you who have not been doing this, I expect you all to go and buy some of them fancy clothes they have there. And on Saturday morning, I expect to see you all somewhere around a track or riding a bicycle. I ain't giving all this good advice for free, you know. That's what I'm asking back. Go buy some sweat thing and go ride or walk or run.
Yes,
30 minutes. You have to do it for 10 hours. 30 minutes. Half an hour.
Yeah.
All right? And believe me, we'll reduce pressure again.
Okay.
And of course, the diet, exercise, reduction of stress is almost true for reducing the incidence of any disease you have, but especially cardiovascular disease, meaning diabetes have cardiovascular effect, heart failure, stroke, all of those things are reduced by lowering stress, exercising for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, and for eating properly.
Yeah.
Meaning, cut down your calories, by the way, and reduce the salt. By the way, what we eat, there is nothing wrong with it. We eat too much. Right? When you're going to eat rice, you don't have to eat a pound. Take 2 little scoops. I tell somebody a story. I don't want to call a name before the people sue me. I went to one of my favorite Jamaican stores. And I say, I need some oxtail. They want small. First of all, they want to kill me to buy a large. I say, I don't want no large. I want a small. And the woman put 2 spoonfuls of rice. She said, you want more rice? I said, no, take up some of how much you give me already. They give you too much food in this place when you go. The food's sweet too, so you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Right? But let me tell you what is the point I'm making. You could eat everything you eat right now. You don't have to stop eating a single thing. As long as you understand what a portion is.
Moderation.
It's okay to eat, fry, anything. But the portion. And let me tell you what is really like. I just finished eating a cookie, a oatmeal, but you know what I do with it? I break it in half. I eat half now, and I get up tomorrow, and I'm going to eat half tomorrow.
Well,
that's how I tend to. I eat ice cream, I get a scoop, and I eat exactly 1 scoop. Long ago, I used to eat the whole quart.
That was my next question. How bad is eating sugar? Because, you know, they always tell you, eliminate sugar.
No. Decrease. You don't have to eliminate a single thing.
Okay.
You don't have to. I'll tell you something. I go to McDonald's. My son started me here. I like the fish sandwich. I go to McDonald's. First of all, I get a double fish. My wife mad at me. I get double fish. I throw away half the bun when I reach home. You hear me carefully?
Okay.
Yeah.
One time I get in a what I call meal. So she asked me, large, medium, or small. I say, I want the little one in a little paper bag, not the one in the box. You know the original, they used to give you that, but 5 French fry in it. You sure you don't want the medium? It don't cost you anymore. Say, lady, I do not want the medium. Everybody here tried to kill you with food. So my point is, start off by cutting down the amount. You don't have to, like me, I eat half a cookie. That's half of whatever the calories is. Right? I don't even know what a serving is. All I know is I only eat half of the oatmeal, and I'm going to get up on lunchtime, I'm going to get a cup of tea tomorrow and eat the other half. 5 years ago, I'd eat at least 2 of them while I'm watching TV. Same thing with my peanuts. I measure them out now. I don't take the whole bag no more. So the amount you eat is what is the problem in America. It's not what you eat. They're trying to make you eat some strange food that you would never like. Who going to stay on that diet? I see some of them food they're trying to sell. I ain't eating that. I want curry goat, and I want oxtail, I want my fried fish. I'm telling you, and I'm not going to stop eating that. I want my dumpling. So what I do, I cut it down. Instead of 4 dumplings, I eat 2 now. And my hope is to go down to 1. I ain't know if I'm going to make that one. 1 dumpling and fish. Dumpling. No, but the point is, start off by reducing the amount of whatever you eat less. And keep going down until it reaches a stage where, to go down more is like not eating it at all. So when you think about adjusting your diet, do not think about the different types. I don't eat meat, I don't eat bush. That's not how the body works. If you eat the correct amount of sugar, it will not make your diabetes worse. So you don't have to stop eating sugar. You have to eat less.
Yes. Moderation.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, moderation.
Moderation in everything, my friend. That's what that means. Yeah. The reason I brought that up, when you look at all diets, West Indians don't eat that food. I went and looked online with it tell me to eat what broccoli and I learned no damn broccoli. I want to eat callaloo and saltfish and dumpling and banana. Mm-hmm. So that's the point. They try to get you into something that even if you do it now, you're not going to keep up with it the rest of your life.
Yeah.
My idea is let you eat what you want to eat, but let you eat quantity.
Yeah.
And I think that's easier. I don't know about you guys. I do it, and I think it's easier than not eating it at all.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the big 3 when it comes to diabetes and high blood pressure. Lessen your sugar intake, right? Exercise, decrease your fat intake, because that has to do with cardiovascular disease, and reduce stress. For the diseases that we get as black folks, those three things are so important in almost every disease we have. And that's our big three: diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate. For the men, that's what's killing us. That's where we get stroke from. That's where we get heart failure from. That's where we get heart attack from. Because we are not eating properly, we are too stressed out, and we are not exercising.
Oh.
Right. I was telling somebody, I don't know, you said you listen to the podcast. I said, when you look in Jamaica, I never see no black man die and no heart attack. We get stroke. Think of it. We get stroke and we die of heart failure and prostate. That's what black men dying from. Heart attack, you have to be able to eat a whole big steak almost every year. That's the white man's disease. Our own is stroke, right? Heart failure. And guess what do those two things? High blood pressure contributes to stroke, and high cholesterol, which has to do with our diet, contributes to stroke and heart attacks. So you think of it, heart failure, diet have something to do with it, right? Right? Kidney disease, diet have something to do with it. So those are the big things. You need to encourage the young kids to get them involved in some physical activity. Start them eating right from now, as far as salt is concerned at least. Let them learn to eat. I don't eat much. Why? My wife has high blood pressure throughout her family. So I think it's about maybe 18 years ago, my wife started to limit the amount of salt in the food. And my stress level went up because cussing every day, the food there no salt. The food there no salt. After about 2 years, I don't notice it anymore. Believe me, it tastes normal to me now. So the point I'm making, you will adjust.
Yes.
Just make up your mind, you know what happened? I'm going to eat half the amount of salt. And number one is, I have a rule, I never add salt to my food wherever I go.
No.
Right? That's a bad habit. Do not. Whatever they cook it with is what I eat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is not easy. As a black man, I'm telling you, all those things I'm asking you to do is real hard because I like to eat. I love carbohydrate. I love everything fried but I never enjoy getting up and have to go exercise, but I do it. Once I find out that, boy, I could alter my quality of life, not linked, only God control that. But for how long I hear, make my life better. Right? I don't want no stroke, so I ain't walking nowhere funny. I go play football because I'm my legs strong from exercising. You understand me? I'm not overweight. So what I look at in controlling our diseases is not lengthening your life, but making it a whole lot more comfortable for the years you're on this earth. You look better, you feel better, you're happier, you're stressless. And by the way, I'm glad, maybe this is divine guidance here. For some reason, when this pandemic thing started, I said, Winston, you ought to probably maybe pass by church every now and then. So, because what it did, I don't know about other people, it made me take and look back at my life. And I remember my religious upbringing, that there is a message in all of this.
Yes.
That's why it's happening to the entire world. The message is not me and you. God is trying to tell you, take a look at how you are living.
Absolutely.
And I've started doing it.
Yes.
Right? People need to step back and say, my God, what is going on in the world? And you will find out exactly what it is. We are being selfish. The whole world. Everybody care about yourself. I don't want to call no name, especially a certain president.
Right. Right about that, doctor.
Yeah, but listen, they might put me out the country if I call name, so I ain't calling no name. But you know what? Right?
Just call
it. Right.
Yeah, my kids come up here and we play tennis, and on Sunday I tell them, you know what God is, I think, trying to tell you, we have become selfish. All of us. Mm-hmm. And money is now our God.
Yes.
Yeah. Money, the only thing Americans talk about, even Caribbean Americans, even us, everybody talking about wealth, how much wealthy and money and stuff.
Greed.
Right? We need to understand you can live a happy life without money. Absolutely. Enough to... I have never been rich, but I've always been happy. I don't know why God look after me so much.
Thank God for that.
But, yeah, man. Well, a patient one time, me, Doc, stop. Shut your mouth. Just receive his blessings. Yeah. Stop asking why you doing this, that, and none of your business. Just receive it. No, I was telling you, I don't go to church often and thing, but I wonder why God always things seem always to work out for me. She told me maybe it's because you're a righteous man. I know. But maybe, who knows, all you might see me in church one day.
Yeah, we look forward to see you, Doctor.
Wait, to see you.
But don't ask Miss Strife either. She would say, don't listen to the doctor. He ain't coming nowhere. I might surprise her one day, though.
The invitation is always open.
I know she tell me the same thing. And I keep thinking, I'm going to come, I'm going to come. I ain't reaching.
Dr. Ronald Moore and his team at Minimally Invasive Surgery perform laparoscopic robotic procedures with the utmost precision. As a bariatric surgery specialist, Dr. Moore performs a range of surgeries and operations focusing on areas and organs of the abdomen. For gastric sleeve, bypass, and banding, to endoscopic balloon and hernia procedures, call the Office of Minimally Invasive Surgery at 954-797-4220 to schedule your appointment. Minimally Invasive Surgery has 2 convenient Broward County locations to serve you. Call 954-797-4220 to schedule your appointment today.
Have any other questions? Anything at all that bothering you?
First question I have, Doctor, go back to the point of managing your high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Early on you mentioned there, but let's say we have, for myself,
right,
or someone that I know that it's 120/80 today, and tomorrow is 110/75 or so. And generally we take the medication every day.
Right.
But because it is on the lower side today,
right,
we bypass it. Or is that right? Or should we continue to take it every day?
You should continue. Let me explain to you why. Good question. Remember what I tell you just now. The blood pressure is not steady during the day. It fluctuates. And it fluctuates with your stress level, whether it's physical or mental stress. It fluctuates with your activity when you're moving around. That's why the only time I think blood pressure is valid is when you first wake up in the morning, before any activity, before the missus bother you and your stress start to go up, like happened to me. Mr. Alexis bothered me early in the morning, the stress start. No, I'm joking though, but as soon as you get up, take it. And keep a log. Because it's the average. It's no one pressure. That's why you shouldn't stop taking it depending on one pressure. But if you find all of it, most of it is on the low side, I'll give my doc a call first. And say, Doc, these have been my pressure. You think I should still take it? Rather than doing it yourself. It's kind of dangerous to do it yourself because you don't know what might be affecting it at any given time. Right? Yeah. But one way to tell what your true pressure is, as I tell you, take 2, one after the other in the morning, and log it for an entire week. And what the machine, some of them do is average out the 2. So that it gives you what the average is. And from that is more an idea whether the pressure is holding on it. The other question is, what is the true pressure for your age?
Okay.
So when you're reading up, look it up. It's not the same as a 19-year-old boy.
Right.
Right. For instance, for me, my cardiologist, I only go to one, by the way, because he's my friend, so I could go and get my blood pressure checked by my cardiologist. You don't have to go. But what he tell me, he said, Winston, for your age, because I was telling him, hey, My blood pressure sometimes is 135 over 84. And I'm trying to get it to 120 over 80. He said, no. At your age, right? A blood pressure of 130 over 84 is not bad.
Yeah.
But if you get that same thing in a 21-year-old body, the pressure is very high. He should be somewhere around 110 over 75 or something like that. By the way, they've come out with new figures, and it's getting lower and lower, which is normal for the younger you are, because they're talking about 110 over 60 now. In my school days, it was 120 over 80 was the standard. Now they're finding out you can't have a standard. Standard depends on your age, your genetics, whole heap of things. So everybody have to make their own normal. What medicines are you on? One or two? Or?
Well, I personally am not on medication. I don't have my blood pressure is fine, but I'm just thinking of the family members that I do know.
Yeah, but don't judge by them. If your doctor don't have you on it, he knows why.
Right.
You don't have to take it. And what you can do, though, is do all those preventative measures.
Yes.
So that it doesn't go to a level that you need to be treated.
Absolutely.
That's the important thing. And that's what people have to say. Living right, what I mean by that is doing all those things I tell you. It's not going to stop you from getting high blood pressure, but it might be that is enough to get it at a stage where you don't need treatment.
Absolutely.
It didn't cure it.
Yeah.
People say, is my lifestyle that gives me high blood pressure? That's wrong. Your lifestyle alternates and direct where your pressure is. It doesn't give it to you.
Yeah.
That's genetic, but you can control it by lifestyle. So, of course, many people like you don't need medicine. It don't mean that they don't have this genetics for high blood pressure, but you have managed to suppress it.
Okay. Sounds
but
good.
Remember the big three again, guys. Reduce stress, exercise, and eat properly.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. I know how to said and done. Anybody else? Any question? Anything? But those
Dr.
are
Alexis.
Yeah.
I got one.
Okay, you go ahead.
Doc, how you doing? This is Calvin.
Very good, man. Calvin, what's up?
I got type 2 diabetes, right?
Okay.
Can I get rid of that, or do I just do the three things just to manage it?
All right, there you go. How long you have it now?
It's been 2 years now.
All right, let me tell you what. Type 2 diabetes, there are two types of diabetes. Type 1, oh my God, that's trouble. And that's genetic. There are people who are born and they can't make insulin. You understand what I mean? So they need insulin.
Right.
There's no other treatment. You have to get insulin. Then there's type 2, which is the type that is common in black folks. Type 1 is divided equally through the races and culture. But type 2, we tend to have a little more. Genetics again. I'll get into that some other time. Type 1 don't have no insulin. Type 2, you have insulin, but it's not working properly.
Right.
You got me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let me give you an example. If me and you eat the same amount of ice cream, and we both put out this, by the way, insulin controls sugar and many other things, but the main stimulus for either to make insulin or not make it is sugar. All right? So if we both eat some sugar, same amount, you will have to make more insulin to control that sugar than me because yours is not working right. So you have insulin, but it's not working right. It's called insulin resistance. What I mean is when the insulin go to your cells to make it pick up the sugar, it doesn't respond as it should to the insulin. So it's resistant to the insulin. And that's not total resistance. Some get through, but it's just not working as good. So you will need more insulin, right? To take care of the same amount of sugar that me and you eat. So you are constantly, the more you eat is the more you are overutilizing your insulin. And with time, you run out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you run out, this has been happening to you since you were a little boy. You just didn't know. It didn't reach the stage where you had run out yet. Once you get type 2, it means your insulin is not doing an adequate job. All right?
Right.
So the more sugar you get, is the more extra insulin you make. Is the quicker you run out, is the more serious your disease gets. Following me, all right?
Yes, sir.
In addition, the sugar, you can't keep it normal because apparently how much you're making, it could never make up. So you have high blood sugar all constantly. And the high blood sugar damages your eyes, it damages your kidney, it damages your liver. All right? So it is important for us to supplement you with something that will help the insulin. Right? The insulin you're making, that's good. But we give you some other medicine that will make the cells react properly to the insulin. You ever hear about medicine called metformin?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. That's what metformin do. Metformin help your insulin to do its work. Okay. Now, anything. There's another thing that insulin does. In addition to keeping your blood sugar normal, it lay down fat. So the higher the insulin, the more fat you keep in your body. That's why people with type 2 type 2 tend to be overweight.
Wow.
Because the extra insulin, because it's trying to keep the sugar, so it have to make more and more. It does, together with the metformin, get your sugar back to normal, so you're operating good with your sugar. But the extra insulin is laying down fat all the time. That's why you tend to be overweight. So there are two ways we can treat this condition. Give you medicine to help the insulin, right? And cut the amount of fat you have in your diet. Because the extra insulin can't lay down fat if you don't have extra fat in your diet.
Right.
You understand? So you have to concentrate, one, on decreasing the amount of carbohydrates in your diet. Because the less carbohydrate, the less insulin, the less metformin you need, the less fat is laid down. Am I making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the big three we're coming back to again. You're right. I just wanted to explain how. So eat less carbohydrate, right? While in high blood pressure and thing, we tell them just eat less of everything. But you are not going to be on the same diet with them. You could eat meat if you want, but very little carbohydrate. They could eat all they want, but just eat less. You have to not eat carbohydrate. All the things in the world that me and you love. Rice, bread, spaghetti, yam, Edo. You understand? All everything that people like, you can't overindulge in. So your diet, the better your diet, the less medication you need. All right? And the lower your blood sugar, so lower the complication. So both high blood pressure and diabetes, you have to manage your disease. Not just take medicine, you have to manage it. You have to keep the sugar down. Take your medicine. And what will happen in time? If you lose enough weight and you exercise enough, you'll be surprised. You may need very little metformin.
Okay.
You know, because remember, as your sugar requirement drop, the less metformin you need, the less insulin you need. The more sugar you eat, the more everything going out of hell.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on a diet condition. Eating is more essential. Eating less carbs, low carbs is more essential to a diabetic than eating properly is to high blood pressure. The major thing is high blood pressure is keeping your salt down and keeping your stress down. In your level, restrict carbohydrates, right? Keep your sugar level down and exercise. Almost the same thing, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I hate it because everything I talk about now, there's too much, and I love to eat.
Brother Hyatt, you have a question?
Yes, I had a quick question, Dr. Alexis.
Yes.
This is a quick question off the beaten path. Since COVID, I've been taking fish oil. I've been taking some over-the-counter supplements. I'm not taking any medications. Very healthy, but I've been taking D3, vitamin D3, vitamin C, fish oils, green tea extract over the counter. Okay. So in a recent doctor's visit, he said my calcium level spiked up. Never had a high calcium level, so he asked me what I was taking over the counter, and he suspects that the D3 is causing my calcium levels to spike. So this was just recent. He asked me to stop taking the over the counter and come back and let's see if the vitamin D3 is contributing or making the calcium level spike. My quick question is, what other things could cause a calcium level to spike up where you've never had a history of calcium before?
Right, there's a
high calcium
there's a disease called hyperparathyroidism that can do it. Mm-hmm. But I agree with him. Let me tell you why. Vitamin D travels with calcium. Anytime the vitamin D is given, it hooks up with calcium. So elevated vitamin D levels can also cause elevated calcium levels. So I think that is more of the problem than a disease. The only disease I'll make sure you don't have, you could go and try and read up on it. HYPER, thyroidism. You know you have thyroid disease, but this is not thyroid. It's a thing called parathyroidism. But I agree with him. I think it might be the taking of the vitamin D3 for a couple of reasons. Black people don't need vitamin D. I don't care what they tell you. Because vitamin D is made by the black skin. Once we live in sunlight. Now, if you were living up in New York somewhere, cold as hell, yes, we may need some vitamin D. But black skin make vitamin D from the sun. Right? Maybe that's why you're born down in Africa somewhere. Black people. So I think it may be you're supplementing a little too much with D. He can't be 100% sure. What he's doing is correct. Stop it and do the studies again and see what happened. If it's still high, then I think he will check you for those diseases I tell you about. By the way, I believe in supplements. I don't use them to treat any disease, but my own is fish oil, turmeric, and I take a multivitamins that have magnesium and calcium and some of the minerals. I take it every single day. And those are good ones. Fish oil is very good for the cardiovascular system. Turmeric reduces inflammation. And so does fish oil. So they think, and inflammation, they think is a part, just like with COVID, you hear the term of inflammation.
Correct.
Even in the absence of COVID, inflammation is not a good thing for the body. And they think we suffer from chronic inflammation of our body, brought on again by stress and some other things. So they think it's good to take fish oil and turmeric because they are both anti-inflammatories. So I take one turmeric every night. I take one, I'm going home to do it now, fish oil and a multivitamin with minerals. Right? And this is more important in people over the age of 40. The younger you are, the less that is necessary. But as you get older, you tend to lose your minerals, you know, and your body have taken so much antioxidants. That's one of the things that cause inflammation, that your body is suffering from a chronic inflammatory process. You don't feel it, but it's taking its toll on your muscles and your joints and your... So it's good to take supplements. And you're doing the right thing. Let your doctor check it from time to time. But certainly if your calcium is high, I would ease off of the D and let him redo some of the tests and see what happens.
So, Dr. Alexis, in general, with the recommendation, you don't think that we as a Black people need to take D3 with COVID? It's not necessary for us to take if you're getting enough sunlight. We don't need the vitamin D as a supplement.
Yeah, but let me tell you something, though. Yeah. I am the minority in that opinion.
Okay.
I just know it from practicing in the islands, taking care of Black people all of my life. All of a sudden, every Black person in the world have deficient vitamin D. What else is that? And we Black, and the books say we ain't supposed to be deficient.
Yeah.
I don't trust all them things there. So I'm not saying I have evidence for what I'm telling you. I'm just saying my general knowledge over 50 years in this profession is I don't think we need to take vitamin D supplement. On the other hand, this is the first time I've heard that excessive vitamin D could be negative to the body. I've never heard it before.
Right.
But the reasoning he's using makes sense because vitamin D tend to travel with calcium.
Correct.
So if your calcium is high, it could be he's saying maybe the vitamin D supplementation is adding to it being this high. Makes sense.
Correct.
I never read it anyway, but he makes sense. It's smart.
Okay. Doc, I have just...
Here's a Black man, I ain't taking no vitamin D.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you for that. I just have two quick follow-up questions.
Right.
I've never taken the flu vaccine before. Over 50, would you recommend taking the flu vaccine? And coming up with the COVID vaccine, would you recommend us as believers taking the COVID vaccine as well? That was my last two questions.
All right, let me tell you now. Good question. I'm going to answer them with what I do. I'm going for my flu this weekend.
Okay.
And doctors going to get COVID first.
Correct.
I'm going to take it. Let me tell you why. I grew up in a generation who lived on vaccine. And I've seen it do good things. Let me tell you the vaccine I took as a little boy. Polio. Right? Smallpox. Yellow fever. TB. I used to get so much vaccine in school. I even know when they tell me. They just tell me, roll up your left sleeve and stand up in line. Back home, nobody don't get no permission from anybody. Right. So I grew up in a country, all of us in the islands in my age group, we all got vaccination. And I have not seen a negative effect from it yet. And I'm a guy who go by common sense here. Right? I'm telling you. But I am not going to take any unofficial vaccine. Before I take this, it has to come from the CDC, okay? And they have to say we have done all the studies, the trials, every single one. No shortcut. And if it's not hurting anybody, if I'm satisfied, I'm going to line up and take it first in line. Or one thing, I'm tired staying home with this mask. So anything that could get me out of that, and if the vaccine can get me out there quickly, I'm first. Now, the second thing is, I know it will not hurt you. How do I know that? Look how much vaccines we get home. You ever hear it hurt anybody yet? They will not give you vaccines unless they're well sure that it doesn't cause any serious downside. And by the way, I started taking flu vaccine when I went in to get my prostate done. They made me take flu and pneumococcus. And ever since I've been doing it every year. And my wife has been doing it longer than me. Now, I told you women take care of themselves better than the men. My wife been taking about 10 years now. I just started about 5 years ago. I have no qualms about taking. The other one I forget, when your foot get joked with nail, you go get things so you don't get lockjaw.
Tetanus.
Exactly, also.
Yeah, I took tetanus. I've taken that.
All of we get that. All of us. So vaccines usually do not, but because they are made from dead products, the thing is dead. It's not in between, it's not live. How are we going to infect you if it's dead? What you have to worry about is the other ingredients they're using. You know, they have to put buffers and thing in it. Now, do people have reaction to that? Maybe sometimes. I don't think it will kill you. It may not help because it doesn't guarantee that when you get it, you know, that you're going to be immune. They have to check you.
Yeah.
Like weeks after to see if the immunity is in. Very good questions, man.
Thank you, Doc.
You all put me to work tonight. I thought it was going to be pizza cake.
Dr. Alexis.
Yeah.
I know we're winding down now.
Yeah.
Also, the question I had asked earlier, when you're looking for a primary doctor, what should we look for when we are looking for a primary doctor?
Okay, there are a couple of things. The credentials is okay, but it's not the most important thing. In other words, whether you graduate from UWI or University of Miami or Maryland or me who went to Howard, the syllabus is the same in every country. We do the same subjects, the same everything. So how the person did in his field is important, but no one school is better than the other, right? That's number one. That has no bearing on how good a clinician the person is going to be. When he do his book work, maybe he's good at studying. Clinical medicine is completely different. It's how you manage the information that you have gotten into school, like any job, right? When you come out, how you put that to use. So how you can evaluate it, one, is to make sure if you're going to see a specialist, he has to be board certified. Every specialty about certification. I am a member of the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Right? That's not my regular degree. That means that I have gone above and beyond my training and proven that I'm worthy of becoming a fellow. They have it in every specialty. Right? If it's internal medicine, fellow of the American College of Internal Medicine. And they have them pretty thing in their office. Or you could see it online. If it's urology, fellow of the American College of Urology. Dr. Khan is that, okay? So that's the first thing. You want to make sure he's been out there. And to get to be a fellow, you have to be at least 2 for 5 years postgraduate. In other words, you have to go out and work. And they're able to evaluate everything you have ever done, look at your malpractice, look at everything, and say, this guy is worthy. When you get out of school, you don't get that. You get that about 5 years after you're done. It's called a fellow of the American College of Obstetrics. So you get, first of all, you become board certified, and then 2 years after that, you become a fellow. So it's graduation, then 2 years you become an American College board certified, and then you become a fellow. I am at the highest level, but board certified is enough. You don't have to be a fellow. All right? And by the way, the British call it the Royal College of whatever it is. We call it the American College, they call it the Royal, but it's the same thing, OBGYN. All right, now, practical. Even if you had that information, you could tell by his attitude. Right? Number one, the most important part of a visit to a doctor is the questions he asks you and the counseling he gives you when it's finished. Believe it or not, the physical exam is really unimportant. Not as important, because by the time, you notice how I could answer you guys? By the time you give me the history, I have a little idea what's wrong with you already. Then I'll do certain testing. And then in the end is where you get him. He must be able, you see how I answer in your questions? He must be able to answer it. If you don't have time and he's rushing you out, or you don't know how to answer it, you need to run. So guys, when you go, don't leave it up to me that you think I love you so much, I'm going to go head over. Some doctors, but you have to pull it out of them. Never make a doctor, if a doctor tell you, take this high blood pressure, tablet. You should be able to say, well, doc, I mean, what does this do? How does it work? You understand? And ask him, oh, okay. So, and ask him anything. Will it cause me to get hard? In the case of high blood pressure, does the medicine interfere with erection? Because some blood pressure medicines do that. Most of them don't, but some does. You have to be able, and if he's communicating, he's good. If he's telling you, don't worry about it, just take the medicine, run out of the office and don't go back. So you have to do your evaluation. One is make sure he has decent credentials, but more important, is he communicating with me? When I come in, does he ask me certain questions that will help him? But more important, when I'm ready to leave, let me tell you how I do. If I give you high blood pressure medicine, this is what I must say. This pressure medicine, number one, it's meant to keep your blood pressure down. Okay? However, the pressure may fluctuate a little bit. I do not want you adjusting the medicine on your own. Right? Mm-hmm. If you find your pressure is keeping a little too, call me. Right? Or leave a message and tell me. And that's just one example. But I communicate with the longest part of a visit should be the consultation in the end. That's best way to evaluate. If he will not sit down and answer your questions, first of all, you should always have questions. I don't care what, even when he give you a tablet, say, doc, so exactly where am I taking this? And if you get annoyed, you need somebody else. Mm-hmm. Right? Even if he don't tell you, he should be able to answer every question you ask him. That's how I evaluate minds. Of course, the other best way is to go to your friend and them and you know they're good. Yeah, that way you find, and by the way, when you find a good one, hold on to him, because they ain't easy to find.
For the absolute best obstetrics and gynecology care, call South Florida OBGYN at 954-452-4377. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Winston Alexis, who has been serving the women of South Florida for over 25 years. Conveniently located in Plantation, Florida, the courteous and professional team at South Florida OBGYN are standing by to assist you. Schedule your appointment today by calling 954-452-4377. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this episode of Medically Speaking with Dr. Winston Alexis. New episodes available every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on your favorite podcast platforms: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Medically Speaking with Dr. Winston Alexis has been produced and presented by the Caribbean American Connection. Until next time, thank you.
We appreciate your time with us on Medically Speaking with Dr. Winston Alexis, hosted by Tyrone Robertson. Join us next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on caribcast.tv, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and most other popular podcast platforms. Doc is back. Although the host and guests are qualified professionals, they assume no responsibility for inaccuracies, omissions, inconsistencies, and any slight of people or organizations. Listeners should use their own judgment or consult an expert or their personal physician for specific applications to their individual medical problems.